Hey guys, what's up? This is the boy who had seven. So today I've got a cool new release for you. For those of you that grew up in the 80s or the 90s, you had to have loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You probably grew up like me watching Batman the Animated Series. And guess what? Both of these babies have come together in the Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. I was talking to a friend of mine that loves the Turtles. He didn't know about this, and I was shocked. So I'm like, you know what? I love this story so much, I've got to tell my subscribers about it. So back in 2016, there was this collaboration, okay, that went on, and this is Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 1. And so in this story, we get to see Ra's al Ghul, we get to see the Shredder, we get to see the Turtles and Batman come together and defeat them. Really cool story. I've got this on trade paperback. You guys can pick it up, probably like Amazon for like 14 bucks. Awesome read. But this year we have got, and last year at the end of the year, we've got part 2. And so this is Batman Teenage Ninja Turtles book number 4, part 2. So let's talk about it. So in 2015, 2016, we now get part 2, Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles part 2. And today we are going to be talking about book number 4. So after I read this, I got all giddy and excited inside, and then my friend said he didn't know about it, and so I'm like, I've got to talk about it. Let me tell you really quick. In book number 1, Shredder is defeated, and it leaves the Foot Clan leaderless. There's nobody to lead them. Also, Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it, Hebrew, Arabic, he has kind of lost the trust of the League of Assassins. And so here in part 2, we begin with the Foot Clan kind of warring among themselves for a new leader. We see that the League of Assassins now has a new leader, and this is what happens. In the very first book, and this is important to this book, Donatello is fighting, and he comes across the Foot Clan, and one of the guys that wants to take over just beats him up, actually almost kills him, and he's saved by his brother Mike and his brother Raph. And when this guy almost kills him, he tells Donatello, you're just the runt of the family. You hide behind all of your gadgets and your gizmos and your science and your brain, but you can't fight worth beans, and you're good for nothing and should just be killed because you're a runt. And it really gets into Donatello's head, and that's important. And so Donatello heads back to, their home underneath the sewers, and he's talking, and he's wondering, like, how can I get better? And he decides, you know what? I remember Batman. Batman was one of the greatest heroes, one of the greatest fighters, one of the smartest minds I've ever met. I've got to go to see Batman again and see if I can learn from him and if he'll teach me how to be a better fighter so I'm not the weak link in the family. Meanwhile, in Gotham City, Batman and Robin, his son Damian, they are finding out that Ra's al Ghul is no longer in charge, and that they go underground and they find a new Lazarus pit, and guess who they see rising from that Lazarus pit? It's none other than Bane. Bane has taken over as the leader of the League of Assassins. Guys, Bane is a monster. I love it. So you've got these two clans warring to see who is going to be their new leader. In parallel universes, one in Gotham with Batman and one in New York City with the Teenage Mutant Turtles, and these two worlds are about to mix. So what happens? Donatello goes to talk to Batman. Bane ends up going through the portal and getting into New York City, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles world. And so what happens is he just takes over that entire world. He starts to war on everybody since there's no Foot Clan. He takes over the Foot Clan and becomes the leader. He's like whooping on everyone. Donatello, Batman, Robin, all the Ninja Turtles come back through the portal and they find their world in flames. All right? And so what ends up happening is Bane goes to all these different Foot Clans and all these different bars and all these different villains, and he finds all of them and he makes them kneel to him. He goes to Bebop and Rocksteady. I mean, how many of you guys remember Bebop and Rocksteady? And he gets them to swear their allegiance to him, and now they're on his side. So, meanwhile, Batman and the Ninja Turtles and Robin, they're all coming up with this plan to beat Bane. They know that Bane doesn't have any venom in this world. And once he runs out of venom, and for those of you guys that don't know, that's the juice that goes into his body and like pumps him up. That's his steroids for Bane. And it's made by specific chemical components in Batman's world, and Bane doesn't have them in this world, but a scientist is figuring it out. Meanwhile, Batman's like, we've got to stop them before they figure it out. Bane's going to end up running out of venom and just become really weak. So Batman, Robin, and the Ninja Turtles and Splinter, they all head to Bane's hideout. They go to stop him, and that is where book number 3 ends, and that is where this book begins. When they get there, they end up walking right into Bane's trap. And he has done something that is pretty beast mode. He has given every single one of his followers in the Foot Clan, Bebop and Rocksteady and himself, the new Venom. And look at them here, guys. They are all jacked up, angry and crazy mad on this new Venom that has given them these amazing muscles. I mean, this is pretty awesome, okay? And so Bane's pretty much like, hey, I'm going to give you one chance and one chance only. Surrender and I won't burn everything down and destroy you. And if you don't surrender, I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to crush your bones and I'm going to spread them across Gotham City. And I'm going to just rule both of these worlds and it'll all be mine. And so Batman's like, hey guys, if you listen to me, we can get out of this. Meanwhile, just a couple of cool things. We get a Shakespeare name drop. We get one of my favorite bands, the Pet Shop Boys, name drop. I mean, there's just a bunch of cool stuff in here. And so Robin decides, you know what, I'm just going to take this into my own hand. And you guys, if you know Damian Wayne, who is one of my favorite, his personality, because he was raised by the League of Assassins and he was altered in his genetics to just be a killing machine, he's just got a wonderful attitude. And he just does not listen. And so he goes over to Bebop, and he kind of just like explodes one of his venom veins that's coming off of the juice pack behind him. And Batman's like, Damian, what are you doing? Or Robin, what are you doing? And then he's like, guys, never mind, all out war. So this huge battle breaks out. And you have everybody just fighting against everybody. The Foot Clan against the Ninja Turtles. You've got Raphael, who actually challenges Bane. I mean, everyone's just fighting each other. Couple things happen here. Donatello gets his stick broken by the guy that was picking on him earlier in the series, and all of a sudden he's just like, the stick was broken. It's like his belief in himself was broken, and he just like kind of hangs his head and doesn't know what to do. And Splinter's like, pick yourself up. It's just a weapon. You are actually the one that wields that weapon. You are the weapon. Pick your head up and fight. Okay, Raphael's fighting Bane. And Bane's like, come on, give me your best shot. And Raph gets a few good shots at him, and then Bane just laughs at him and just, boom, backhands him. And Raphael just flies across and just hits this big old metal pipe. And his head's just wrung. Bane picks him up, and it looks like he's either going to throw him across the room or try to break his back, just like he broke Batman's back in the Nightfall series. And, you're thinking about that, if he breaks this guy's back, it's like a shell. I mean, that would be so detrimental. But Splinter sees it, and Splinter's like, it's not happening on my watch. So he jumps over there and just drop kicks Bane right in the face. And so Splinter starts fighting Bane, and Splinter's like, you know what? All this muscle and all your vibrato is going to be your downfall. And Bane is just trying to crush him, and Splinter's just dancing around him, hitting him and smacking him in pressure points and just beating the heck out of him. Finally, he gets him all tied up in these metal pipes, and so he turns his back on Bane, and he checks on Raphael, and we know that is a huge no-no. You never turn your back on your enemy. And so Bane just knocks him through into the wall, and the wall of the place that they're fighting in, and the roof, the ceiling just falls in on top of Splinter. And so the Ninja Turtles and Robin and Batman are like, no! And they rush over, and they're trying to dig Splinter out. Meanwhile, Bane's like, you know what, let's get out of here. We'll live to fight another day. So they drag Splinter. They're able to save him. He's breathing, but he's knocked out. He's in a coma. He's hurt really bad. Bane, meanwhile, sets up his new headquarters at the Statue of Liberty. And he changes her face, like you see here, into his own face. And it's pretty much like, anybody that wants me, come and see if you can stop me. Bring it on. And so All the guys are just, like, hey, we gave it our best shot. We did everything that we could combined together, and these guys are way too much. Well, Donatello, he pulls out this vial of venom, and he's like, hey, maybe it's time we embrace what Bane is doing. And Batman's like, right away, look at this. No. All stone cold face. No, we're not doing that. Why? Because I've done that before, and it messes with your mind, and more importantly, it messes with your soul. You don't know who you are when you're taking that venom. I'm not allowing it. And so, a funny part here, Mike's like, hey, I hear you're a billionaire. Why don't you buy some pizza? So Mike. So the next thing we see is that Donatello's all alone, and he is so distraught, doesn't know what to do, that he decides that he is going to take the venom himself. And this is at the point where, like, oh my gosh, I gotta share this with people. And look at this picture. He's now injected his body with the venom, and that is how this comic book ends. Guys, if you love the Ninja Turtles, if you love Batman, you have to get this comic book, this series. There's the first one, part 1, is just 6 books. You can find the trade back like I showed you. This one, we're barely on book number 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4 are readily available. You can find them. There's only 2 more books to finish up this small mini series. Go out and get it. Especially, maybe you don't want to read it to yourself. But if you've got little kids, boys and girls, that love Ninja Turtles or Batman, great story. Nothing that I can remember that's inappropriate. I mean, it'd be awesome to read these to them at bedtime, to read these to them during the day, to have them read to you, to practice their reading. I mean, great story. The the magnitude of taking these 2 characters or these 2 stories that I love and putting them together is just pretty awesome. So guys, I hope you liked the video today. I want to tell you guys that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Please leave some comments down below. Let me know who your favorite Ninja Turtle is. Guys, thanks so much. I'll talk to you later. Cowabunga, dudes.